Welcome to the Basics for Virtual Assistants podcast, your go-to destination for all things virtual assistant. I'm your host, Pol, and just 4 short years ago, I took that leap into the world of virtual assistants, and I've never looked back. Now it's my turn to help you take the same exciting path. Are you wanting to become a VA but no idea where to start, lost with how to price yourself or set yourself up for success? Well, look no further. As we explore this world together, I'll be sharing my experiences, insights, and all the valuable lessons I've learned along the way. So, get ready to explore the world of virtual assistants, uncover its limitless potential, and let me guide you on the path to becoming a successful virtual assistant. Your transformation into a skilled VA starts right here, right now. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Basics for Virtual Assistants podcast. I am so excited to be back. I had to take some time off. We all got very unwell and I lost my voice. So I am back. So this week we're speaking about virtual assistant contracts. Firstly, do you need a contract? Why you need a contract and what to include in your contract. Let's dive on in. A question that I hear time and time again is, do I need a contract? Are you sure I need a contract? And my resounding answer is yes. It is so important to have a contract. It is essential for defining clear boundaries and expectations. It protects both yourself and your client. It can help in conflict resolution. So, if for some reason there is a dispute about the expectations, pay rate, the tasks you're doing, you can just refer back to the contract that you've both read and signed. And it just really helps to mediate those issues that might come up. Some reasons for having a contract are to protect yourself, provide a record for resolving disputes and payment issues, like I spoke about before. It helps give you clarity. It can really set clear expectations on the scope of work, hours, that sort of thing, and really help to reduce misunderstandings. And it's great to use as a reminder of the agreed terms for both parties. So, not only is it really great to send through to your client if there's some conflict, but your client can also go back to it and say, hey, this is what I thought we agreed upon. And it helps, can be really helpful to just make sure you're all on the same page. It's really important in your contract that you include some very specific details to make sure that everything is covered so that it is clear, concise, and will hold up in mediation, or if anything were to happen, then the contract needs to be set out in the right way to make sure that you are covered legally later on. For me, I've been very lucky. Majority of the time, my clients create the contract with their lawyer or whatever, come back to me and I sign it. But here are some things that need to be included in your contract when you are creating your own. So first of all, you need to make sure that you have your full details, so full name, address, and contact details, and your client's full name, address, and contact details. Now, if you are an Australian or whichever country you're in, make sure that you're including the relevant information that is needed. For in Australia, if you are running a business, you must have an Australian business number. So it's very important to include that in your contract, just so that it's really clear exactly who the person you're working with is. The next thing that I like to include is a list of services. So a detailed description of the tasks and services you'll be providing. I like to give it a little name and then a short description of exactly what that task includes. And sometimes if I do a task that's really similar, I will actually split them into 2 tasks with very specific blurbs about what they are. So that is very clear exactly what each task consists of. The next thing you need to include is your service location. So where will your work be performed? So for me, it's obviously I work from home, so it's my home office. And so I always just put home office and then my current address. But if you're working in a hired space or you're renting a space, make sure to include the address of that space. Next thing to include is your office hours and your communication guidelines. So define your office hours. Are you working 8 till 4, Monday to Friday? Are you not having set office hours? Make sure to include them in there. And then your communication methods. how you expect your clients to communicate with you and how you expect your client should expect you to communicate with them, and then your response time. So for me, I always say that my response time is 24 hours during the week and 24 to 48 hours over a weekend because I don't work over weekends. You just need to make sure that it's really clear to your client when they should expect you to respond to them. I feel like 24 hours, especially during the week, is a really good time frame. That means if they email you at 9 o'clock on a Monday morning, then you have till Tuesday morning to respond to them. I also think it's very important to ensure that you include that extra time over the weekend so that you don't feel the pressure to be on and responding to clients within that 24 hours. So that's really important to include in there. Next, you need to include a payment of services. So a payment structure. So whether that's hourly or fixed rate, or you need to include that in there, what the expectations are around your package or rate or whatever you're using, and then the payment schedule. So how often you're getting paid, whether that's fortnightly, monthly, weekly, whatever you have worked out with your client, make sure that you include that there, that your expected payment date is XYZ. For example, maybe you get paid monthly and you invoice on the first, and therefore your payment terms are 7 days from invoice date. So your invoice must be paid by the 7th. Make sure to include all of those types of details in your contract. Now, this one is something that not everybody includes and not everybody does, but this is something that I personally have include now in all my contracts with my clients, and that is a late payment. So what are the consequences if they pay late? Do they get an opportunity once and then the second time you charge them a late fee? And also make sure to include in here, for me, I always say if payment is not made by the 7th day without prior communication, maybe there's an issue with their bank, maybe they're on holidays, whatever. If it hasn't been communicated prior to this, then I will stop work until payment is made. So those sorts of things need to be made sure that they're in your contract. I find that it's really handy to have it in there. It just makes your client aware. Before I had this late payment consequence, or, I had a late payment fee. So if you don't pay within a certain amount of time from the due date, then you incur a $15 fee, and then it's a $15 fee every week after that until payment is made. Before having this, I found that some of my clients were a bit all over the place with their payments, but after a few times where they were charged a late fee because they didn't pay in time, it seemed to stop really quickly. And once I added this into all of my contracts, I found that my newer clients, I wasn't having as many issues with. I am incredibly flexible with this fee. Like, I understand that people have lives and things come up, but I think it's also important to make sure that you do have something in there to protect yourself. The second last thing that you need to include is your expectations around termination or ending work with this client. I have in all of my contracts that I have to give 14 days notice to my clients that I will be completing work with them, and they must give me 14 days notice if they are going to be letting me go. I feel like it is the same expectation as if you were working in an office place. You wouldn't expect to be, let go and have no job the next day. And the same for my clients. I would not want to be leaving them in the lurch and saying, you have to find someone to complete all my tasks tomorrow because I won't be there. So whatever your termination timeline fits you and your business, make sure you include that in there. The final thing that I include for all of my clients is a confidentiality clause. So this protects my clients' sensitive information. So it just says that I will not share anything to do with my client's business, whether that be statistics, funds, any of that sort of thing, with any other client or any other business outside of themselves and their business employees that I work alongside. So I also often sign non-disclosure agreements with my clients because they do own businesses where they don't want the information that they have getting out to other people. And I'm perfectly happy to sign those. It obviously just depends on you, but I feel like a confidentiality clause makes it really clear to both yourself and your client about the things you can and cannot talk about from their business outside of your work with them, whether that's, liaising with other businesses to work alongside them, whatever. It just makes it really clear for everybody. And I find it more for myself. I love that I have it so that I know exactly where I stand and there's no chance of crossing over a boundary that I wasn't aware of. A well-drafted contract is crucial for a successful virtual assistant business. I feel like without a contract, you just leave yourself open for so much speculation around what the expectations are between yourself and your client. You leave yourself open to the opportunity to not get paid how you expected to be paid, to not, have the opportunity to be terminated with a reasonable amount of time. All of these things are super important. It ensures clear understanding of terms and protects both parties. Investing in a thorough contract fosters trust and prevents misunderstandings. It can help your clients feel more confident in working with you when you have a contract for them, or when you speak to them about a contract. You say, okay, well, would you like to get one written up, or I can organize one. You can get them written up online. You can hire a lawyer, whichever you feel best for yourself and your business. But make sure that it includes those things, because they're very specific to virtual assistants. It's not like a normal contract that you can just whip up and chuck out there. It needs to be really specific to yourself and your business. So if you have any questions, you can always come over and find me on TikTok and Instagram and ask, or you can join my Facebook group, The Basics for Virtual Assistants. Um, I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will be back again next week with even more.
And that brings us to the end of another episode. I hope you've enjoyed diving into the fundamentals of the virtual assistant world with me today. If you found value in our discussion and want to connect further, remember you can join our community on Facebook. Just search The Basics for Virtual Assistants and we can continue the conversation there. For more behind the scenes content, tips and updates, you can also find me on Instagram and TikTok. Follow me at the Basics for VAs podcast for bite-sized insight and a glimpse into the VA world. I'm thrilled you tuned in, and if you have any questions or specific topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes, feel free to drop a message. Your feedback is invaluable. Until next time, keep thriving in your virtual assistant realm, and I'll catch you in the next episode.